Sometimes life loses its color. It doesn't collapse, it doesn't fall apart. It just fades, like someone turned down the brightness. You look at everything through glass. People talk, the sun rises, days pass, but inside there's silence, calm, cold, endless. It's not pain. It's not fear. It's emptiness. The kind of emptiness where you exist, but you're not really living. Everything becomes a background noise, and you, an observer of your own life. You try to understand what's wrong. Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it's too many responsibilities. Maybe the absence of meaning. But the longer you search, the clearer it becomes. The problem isn't out there, it's somewhere within. Somewhere you've drifted too far from yourself. There was a time when joy was easy. A good conversation, a song, sunlight through the curtains, and your heart would open. Now, nothing sparks that same response. The hardest part isn't that you feel bad. The hardest part is that you don't feel anything at all. I once thought this was weakness, a lack of drive or discipline. I tried to shake myself awake. New goals, new plans, new motivation. But the harder I pushed, the heavier it felt. Like knocking on a door that refuses to open. Only later I understood. Life wasn't asking me to move faster. It was asking me to be still. Sometimes joy disappears not because life turned dark, but because inside us there's too much noise, too much unspoken truth, too much exhaustion. Joy can't survive in that crowd. It waits, patiently, until we make space for it again. We like to think of joy as a reaction to something that happens. A moment, an event, a success. But real joy isn't a reaction, it's a state of harmony with what is. And when that harmony is gone, when there's conflict between who we are and how we live, joy steps aside until we find our way back. When nothing feels good anymore, the first step isn't to chase what used to make you happy. Because that version of you, the one who found joy in those things, no longer exists. Something in you has changed, quietly but deeply. This stage is like winter. Everything slows, freezes, goes silent. But nothing's dead. It's just preparing for new life. Life breathes in cycles. Inhale and exhale, bloom and rest, movement and stillness. If you're in the stillness now, if everything feels empty, maybe it's simply your soul exhaling. We panic when peace replaces excitement. We mistake calm for emptiness. But maybe this quiet is not the absence of life. Maybe it's the beginning of healing. When nothing brings joy, don't rush to fill the void. Sit with it. Listen. Let it speak. Sometimes that silence is honesty. The kind that tells you, you can't keep pretending. Pretending to care about what doesn't matter. Pretending to enjoy what doesn't nourish you. Pretending to be someone you no longer are. The absence of joy isn't always loss. Sometimes, it's truth. The moment I stopped fighting my emptiness, something shifted. I didn't feel pain. I felt relief. Like I had dropped a heavy mask. Like I no longer had to perform the role of someone doing fine. In that stillness, I started noticing small things again. The rhythm of my breath, the hum of the world, the quiet presence of time itself. When I stopped searching for joy, I realized it had never really left. It was just waiting for me to slow down enough to see it. Maybe joy doesn't need to be found. Maybe it needs to be allowed. And it can only enter where there is space, where there's silence instead of noise, presence instead of distraction. We think joy means movement. But sometimes, joy is stillness. That deep exhale when you finally stop trying to be someone else. When people say, "Nothing makes me happy," what they often mean is, "I've lost connection with myself." You can be surrounded by beauty, success, love, and still feel nothing if you're not truly present. Joy doesn't live in circumstances. It lives in attention. When your attention turns inward, gently, without judgment, something begins to wake up. First, a faint movement. Then warmth. Then life. If you don't rush it, if you let it unfold, you'll see that it was never gone. In those moments, I focus on my body, the air filling my lungs, the ground beneath my feet, the quiet weight of being alive. I don't force myself to be happy. I practice being here. And somehow, that presence itself starts to bring light back. We're taught that happiness comes from getting something, success, love, validation. But joy doesn't enter through acquisition. It grows from acceptance, from saying yes to the life that's already here. When you stop fighting what is, life begins to flow through you again. So if right now nothing excites you, don't panic. Don't fill the silence with distractions. Let the silence stay. Because in that silence, something new is gathering strength. A new sense of meaning, quieter but truer. The world today is too loud. It demands constant excitement, constant happiness, constant be more. But joy doesn't thrive under pressure. It grows in quiet places, in the spaces where you stop performing. When I stopped searching, when I simply let life be, something beautiful happened. I found myself smiling again. Not because something special occurred, but because I finally felt at peace. It wasn't joy as a spark. It was joy as stillness. A feeling of coming home to myself. Maybe that's what the journey really is. Not about bringing back old happiness, but opening up to a new kind, one that doesn't depend on the outside world but blooms from within. If you feel numb, it's not the end. It's a passage. You haven't lost your ability to feel. You've simply outgrown what used to move you. Now your soul is searching for something deeper. Let it search. Don't rush it. Sometimes you have to walk through silence to hear life's music again. Joy doesn't come when we chase it. It comes when we stop hiding from truth. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, real, and imperfect. When we whisper, yes, I feel empty now, but I'm still here. I'm breathing. I'm alive. And in that quiet honesty, you are no longer empty. You are full of life. Not loud, not dramatic, but deeply, gently alive. Sometimes life doesn't bring joy not because it's broken, but because it's waiting for you to stop pretending and start being you again.